All right, guys, welcome back to Broke Bets. Lane here with you, of course. Got my guy Carson with me. Salut.
What's going on? 299 is here.
Yes, sadly, we have to kick off the card with Joanne Wood versus Maryna Moroz. Yeah, I mean, I hate when we have to kick off a fight that, you don't even need to do that much research for this one. We're going Maryna Moroz. In my opinion, more coordinated, accurate boxer and a better grappler. Joanne Wood, 38 now. Unimpressive career. I just find her kind of uncoordinated, has no snap on her strikes. She has no finishing ability. Give me Moroz by decision. That's simple.
Yeah, better boxer here, better grappler. I think better everywhere in this fight here. So, yeah, Maryna Moroz. I like to win. What do you think? Method of victory?
Decision. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I lean decision too, but Wood's been subbed 5 times. I just don't think Moroz will.
She could get on the back. It is a weird fight. I honestly, if the odds are minus 200 for Moroz, and I don't bet chick fights, but fuck, man. I mean, like, it kind of seems like easy money, to be honest. So, yeah, give me Moroz. Any more thoughts here? I doubt it, but.
No, Joanne Wood's 38. Seems to be declining as her career goes on here.
Yup. Moroz by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have CJ Vergara versus Asu Almabaev. Give me Asu Almabaev. This dude's wrestling just looks phenomenal. The timing on his takedowns are great. Actually, I see some similarities, even with Khabib, on how Khabib just shoots for an ankle, and he gets his head right on their ankle, and gets that leg to where he can position himself for a takedown. And CJ Vergara, never really been too impressive. I mean, he almost got finished by, Daniel Lacerda. Obviously, it was like spinning head kicks and weird movements, but overall, this is a guy that's just been beat up on at 125, missed weight, and just has a little bit better cardio and maybe some dog energy in him to win fights. But Almabaev, he's going to get this one to the ground. He's going to take care of business pretty easily, I think. I'm going to give him a sub in round 1. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Vergara, he's super, super tough. Got a dog in him, but he has been submitted twice. So, that's Almabaev's game. I think getting takedowns, timely takedowns, and he's got a good back take. He can get to that back position really well and find a rear naked choke here. I think he does it in round 1 here as well.
Right, and Ode Osborne, who he took down, Ode's not a phenomenal fighter, but he is, still a wrestling background, and he took care of business pretty well. His striking, I don't like his striking. He does have like a good left head kick and spinning kicks with his, just left foot, but overall, I don't really like his hands at all. He doesn't have a good overhand, which he tries to use, doesn't look very powerful. But I think he can get away with it, at least in a fight like this. I don't think it'll matter. I think his cardio holds up. I don't think CJ Vergara mounts a comeback. So give me Almabaev submission. Round 1. You thinking about betting this line at all for him by sub or anything like that?
Depending on what it's at. I mean, I got Almabaev in a super long parlay with fights from the last couple of cards. So hopefully that stays intact and he can finish off that parlay. But him by finish, maybe if it's close to even money, I would assume so. It'd be around there.
Interests me as well. So, all right, Almabaev submission round 1. Okay, for the next fight we have Robelis, Despaigne versus Josh Parisian. I hope I'm saying that name right. Not Parisian. I don't know. You guys know. Going with Despaigne here. I wouldn't call him trustworthy, at least yet, but Josh Parisian's so fucking bad that, you can't lose this fight. I mean, Josh Parisian, I'll read you guys my notes on Josh Parisian, because they're the same notes every time. Everyone knows this guy's not good. Fat slob of a heavyweight. In this case, used as a stepping stone in the UFC, or is just in garbage fights. And his real only success in fights is when his opponents get tired from beating his ass in the first round, and he can mount a comeback off that. So, Give me Despaigne by KO in the first round, and simple as that for the Cuban. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this Despaigne dude is super tall. He's got, I think, the longest reach in the UFC now, 87 inches.
7 foot 3 inch reach.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, he's obviously coming from Taekwondo background, and in MMA, all of his fights are ending by first round KO, and his last 3 fights were a total of like 20 seconds. So this dude's super powerful. He does leave his chin up, which I don't like.
Just Taekwondo style, I guess. Hands down. Yeah, I mean, stand tall.
I think that's just a habit, I guess I would say. And yeah, I mean, I feel like he could get KO'd eventually, but not by Parisian. I don't believe so.
Yeah,
I think this is a good first fight for Despaigne to get his name out there and probably get a first round KO here.
Yeah, he's in like one of the most fraudulent sports to bring to actual fighting in Taekwondo. I mean, it's gonna work in a situation like this, and him being 6'7" and how tall he stands, I think it's like one takedown attempt from someone who can even shoot a takedown. I don't think Parisian really can. It could be over for him just like that. So I don't know where like.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
In his first fight, the one that went nearly the full first round, I mean, the dude just held him up against the cage for like 3 of those 4 or 5 minutes. So, possibility if someone at least somewhat good takedowns could capitalize on that.
Right. And I don't know where the betting line on this fight should be or like what the options are. I bet the under 1.5 is going to be like minus 500. So it's going to be pretty untouchable of a fight. I don't really know what's the option to do here. It's probably just Despaigne KO round 1. Or if you have like a crazy book that'll let you do him to win by knockout in 30 seconds, that's probably the best option. So you'll probably only get that at even money though. So
yeah, I mean if this line was any closer, I think Despaigne would be getting absolutely hammered. So
right,
I mean minus 400 is, I think, fair just with his hype.
Right. All right. Despaigne KO round 1. Okay, for the next fight we have Philipe Lins versus Ion Cutelaba. This is fight rescheduled. It was canceled. I mean, it happened like 3 months ago, where I think it was like a fight night during the fight night. I think someone pulled out, I believe. But last time we did this fight, we bet the under 1.5. I remember getting like a plus money line on it, and then I think it shifted to minus money, and then the fight got canceled. So I got fucked. But I'm going Lins. We picked him last time. I just feel like he's been making a good run here at light heavyweight. And his punches have big effects on his opponents versus Maxim Grishin, and he seemed to clip him with some big punches. The takedown defense looks pretty decent. And we all know Ion is just killer to be killed, and he wants to work that wrestling and ground and pound right away in round 1. And that's why I like the under, just because he's killer to be killed. But I'm going to take Lins to catch him here in the first round. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Ion is killer be killed, and he's got 1 round of cardio, probably about 3 or 4 minutes to be exact. So, I think Lins can survive the early onslaught from Cutelaba and finish him late in that first round. Yeah, like you said, Lins going down to light heavyweight now. I think on a 3-fight win streak since that move, and he's looked pretty good. He's wearing on guys, and he finished OSP. So I think once he wears out Ion, he can finish him late in that first round. Right,
and Ion's like historically we've done pretty good with predicting how his fights have gone. We got him right versus Tanner Boser. We picked against him against the 3 Giants, and then I believe I picked him versus Devin Clark. But yeah, just historically, I feel like his style, he comes out and fights the same fight every time, and if you can just defend the takedown early and throw a couple punches, you'll win the fight. So I always thought it was crazy. Like Cutelaba got his name kind of from, well, he beat Khalil Roundtree Jr., then he went to face Magomed Ankalaev, And everyone was so pissed that fight got stopped early, and like no one knew at the time maybe that Ankalaev was just gonna fucking destroy him, and it was pretty obvious, at least in my opinion. But
right.
Anyway, Lynn's KO round 1. Okay, for the next fight we have Michel Pereira versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. Just a difference in letter in the first name. We're going with Michal Oleksiejczuk. The man just has that dog in him. Simple as that. And at middleweight, he's been on a fucking tear. And I know he lost to Kyle Baralho, but even so, I thought he had decent moments in that fight. Pereira, been a weight bully at 170, coming up to 185, and he still looks massive. Knocking out Petrosky, but historically hasn't really had a lot of finishes, even at 170. And he's coming in here against Oleksiejczuk, who will just forward pressure and hit you with that left hand until you drop. And give me Oleksiejczuk to out-pressure him and break his will and knock him out in round 2. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, Pereira looked decently fast in his last fight against Petrosky, but I mean, he didn't take a punch in that fight, so I'm just curious how the power of Oleksiejczuk at 185 will feel against Pereira. I mean, he's used to getting hit by 170s. Now 186. He didn't really take a punch against Petrosky, so interested to see how he holds up with the power. But I mean, Pereira, he's wild, crazy man. He's going to be feinting a ton. And I think Oleksiejczuk will just keep pushing forward, pressuring him, and break Pereira. He did that against Njokuani in his last one. Njokuani had tons of success early on and just kind of weared himself out, and Oleksiejczuk was landing bombs towards the end of that first round. So he makes it dirty. Love that of him. He's pretty durable as well. So I like Oleksiejczuk by finish here.
Yeah, that was one of the best comebacks of last year against Njokuani. He's kind of been on a couple of, he came back per se versus Brunic just because Brunic had an early takedown. But even if Pereira, he's just going to be on the back foot, I feel like, this whole fight. Oleksiejczuk, he got kneed to the body a lot by Njokuani. He still ate it all, though. It hurt him, but he ate it, and he just kept moving forward. Man, I like an underdog, especially this dude. The weird part is, Oleksiejczuk used to fight 205, Pereira used to fight 170, and Pereira will look much larger than him in the cage, which should be pretty funny, so.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts?
Oleksiejczuk still only 29 years old, too, so.
Right. Great chin, too.
Right. Yeah, Pereira's right there at 30, so I feel like these guys have been in the UFC for some time now, so.
Right. All right. Oleksiejczuk, KO round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Pedro Munoz versus Kyler Phillips. Taking Kyler Phillips. Munoz is always in these tough, close fights. Just his style, he likes to counter punch. He waits on people. He leg kicks. He's a good, decent grappling base. Can get out wrestled at times, but overall, I think he's just me a step behind in a fight like this. And Kyler Phillips has so much output, especially on the feet, that he's just going to have a lot more reasoning for judges to give him rounds. And that's why we're going to pick him by decision. So what do you think here?
Yeah, I think Munoz will just be on the outside of the cage and trying to land leg kicks. I mean, he is super tough, super durable, never been finished before. So, I mean, I obviously lean Phillips by decision here. Just with volume, and he's got a really nice jab and then straight, and he's got decent leg kicks as well. Just more volume and outpointing Munoz here.
I do have some criticisms of Kyler Phillips' game. I brought this up the last time we broke down one of his fights, but he does a little bit too much. And Sean O'Malley, his training partner, did this early in his career in some fights too, where he's doing crazy spinning head kicks and they're not really hitting. Kyler Phillips, for example, against Paiva, hurt the dude multiple times, and he's looking for the highlight crazy KO finish when he could have just hit the dude square, straight punches, and once he rocked him, and it was going to be game over. So now kind of needs to dial it in. We have a 9-year age gap here. That's going to play into the fight. But yeah, Tyler Phillips coming up, Pedro Munoz, kind of he's like plateaued or whatever, and definitely not going up at this point anymore. So
yeah, I mean he fought all right against Vera in his last one. It was a close fight too. So
right.
Yeah, I just think Phillips will be a step ahead here.
3-round fight too heavily favors Phillips. So
yeah, all
right, Phillips by decision. Okay, for the next fight we have Mateusz Gamrot versus RDA. Weird matchmaking. Going with Gamrot here. RDA has just been caught in between welterweight and lightweight for like so long, and he's choosing right now to go back to lightweight. Strange choice at his age. He's still doing well, like well-rounded and all, but Gamrot's just gonna be able to out-wrestle him. We all look back at that Beneil Dariush fight, and we kind of judge Gamrot for not getting the takedown, securing control, but we didn't all realize how great of a scrambler Beneil truly was until that fight. And I think that Gamrot can just hold top control and honestly pump the jab and probably outpoint at range, because he looked kind of fast in that start of that Fiziev fight. So in a 3-round fight, I think he's got it. What do you think?
Yeah, you saw RDA kind of get out-grappled by Luque at 170 in his last one, so RDA seems to have a little better success at 155, just with a little better size advantage. But yeah, I mean, I just think Gamrot will be a step ahead, better top control, better wrestler. So yeah, I tend to lean Gamrot by decision, but at minus 350 or whatever he's at, I don't really love that whatsoever.
Yeah, him to win by decision will be like minus 200, I think. So kind of untouchable. He doesn't do enough damage in fights either. Like the Arman Sarukian fight, he had like not too many strikes in that fight. So,
and that was 5 rounds. So.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about this fight. Do you?
Not really, no.
All right. Gamrot by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have, I'm still going to say her old name. I refuse to say this new name. Kaitlyn Chookagian versus Maycee Barber. Going with Barber. I mean, this is going to be a weird fight because Kaitlyn Chookagian is always in these weird fights where she's doing her yes every single time she throws a punch. And she's just got that like range advantage on most girls that it makes it look like she's winning fights when she's never landing anything significant. Give me Barber by a split decision. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, like you said, Chookagian's got size advantage on most people. She has size advantage here as well, but I think Barber could be mixing in some grappling, hold her up against the cage a little bit, work some knees in the clinch, some of that stuff, make it boring, and win a decision here. Yeah. Yeah,
and Maycee Barber has been looking better. I do think she's improved in most of her fights. Her elbows in the clinch are good. Also, Chookagian gets hurt to the body in multiple fights. I think Andrade got her to the body. Did Shevchenko? Did she fight Shevchenko? I'm fucking blanking right now.
Yeah, it was ground and pound from Crucifix.
I think there were some body shots in that one too, but overall, just Barber. There's gonna be more, going to the judges for damage overall, and I think people might be over Chookagian's bullshit at this point because she's been in these weird decisions where she just hasn't done much, and she's been winning fights. So,
yeah, throwing strikes and not really landing. 10-year age gap here as well for Barber, the younger fighter. So,
yep,
tend to lean that side for that as well.
All right, Barber by decision. Okay, for the next fight we have Curtis Blaydes versus Jailton Almeida. we are going with Jailton Almeida. We're going with him by a first-round submission as well. Curtis Blaydes, historically here in the heavyweight division, has kind of been like the wrestler at the higher end of the division. And you go look at the film of him wrestling, it's not phenomenal. He's not the fastest guy. He more is just a little bit strong, bigger, heavy on top on people, and he can hold people down, use his elbows to win fights from ground and pound. But Almeida is just a whole nother level of speed on the ground. And I think Jailton can get to his legs, get him down. Curtis might have to give up his back. And easily he could get submitted, he could get ground and pounded. I still think Jailton's really good. People are going to look at that Derek Lewis performance and just judge it. But at the same time, Derek was kind of just willing to wait out rounds by holding Jailton's wrists and just kind of playing submission defense. And Jailton also couldn't land a lot of ground and pound because if he does, Derek could either grab wrists or hip out of it because he's so much bigger than Jailton. In this case, it's going to be an interesting fight, and I like Jailton. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Blaydes seems to be, like you said, the wrestler of the heavyweight division. But I mean, his takedown entries don't look great at all. He doesn't really get low to the ground. I feel like Almeida will do his usual cheap kick here and go right at his legs and get him down. I don't think Blaydes has ever fought another wrestler or grappler, so I feel like he'll try to give up his back, and Almeida will jump on that rear naked choke here.
Golden sign, too, for Jailton Almeida. How fucking ashy his knees are. That's your sign that dude shoots double legs, gets down to his knees for takedowns, because Curtis Blaydes, yeah, like you said, his entries, even how he got knocked out versus Derek Lewis, he just dropped his head and his arms were reaching for a leg, but his hips were his legs were completely straight when he was going for that takedown. I think Jailton's just going to be much faster, and on the feet, it's a ton of questions. Like, we have not seen Jailton compete with anyone on the feet. We've seen Curtis at least hold his ground. I mean, he had some good punches versus Pavlovich, but even so, his chin doesn't hold up phenomenally well. Obviously, anyone can get knocked out by Pavlovich, but his legs do seem to get really stiff when he's getting hit. And I like Almeida quite a bit here. So.
Yeah, I mean, I know it doesn't show on Almeida's record, but he did lose his last fight. I believe it was in January. It was against a Make-A-Wish kid, and fight too. I think he makes a comeback here.
I was looking around like, fuck, did he lose to Derek Lewis? What am I talking about?
No, not that one.
Yeah, he was fighting like an idiot in that special needs.
Right. I mean, but in seriousness, I feel like a lot of people will look at that Derek Lewis fight and say like, oh, he couldn't even finish him. Like, what are you doing? I mean, he was dominated. He had top position for 23 minutes. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously couldn't finish him, but I still think he looked good, and it was good for him to get that experience going the distance, especially in that 5-round fight.
Yeah, just in Jailton's last fight, man, he really went downs, didn't he?
Yeah.
All right, anyway, gotta stop doing this. All right, Almeida submission round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Petr Yan versus Son Yadong. Going with Petr Yan on a comeback fight. He's been fucking cursed for so long, and this is the moment he comes back. I mean, Son Yadong, great fighter, young up-and-comer. Still head defense is something that maybe he needs to work on, but Petr Yan's just so fucking good when it comes to the striking, the takedown defense. I don't see Son Yadong getting a takedown in this fight. And overall, I just like to see Petr be on the front foot more, because in a lot of these fights, he's, versus Aljo, maybe because they're grapplers in the Sterling fight and the Moroz fight, because they're grapplers, he's being more reactionary, whereas when he was fighting Sandhagen, he was just going after Sandhagen. And, give me Petr Yan to outstrike him to a decision. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and in that O'Malley fight, too, for Yan, he was on that front foot for majority of that fight, too. I really like his kicks, too. I think they're pretty underrated. He sets traps really well. He's always got that high guard. Leaves his body open a little bit, but he's not getting hit with those huge shots to the head usually. So I think he can mix in some grappling too if he wants. But I really love his kicks and his striking here. So give me him by decision. I think both these guys are super tough. I don't really see either one of them finishing each other, especially in a 3-round fight here.
It might sound crazy because of his recent share of events, but he kind of, in my opinion, at least is kind of like my bantamweight GOAT. And Merab obviously beat him, and maybe Merab will go on to accomplish that legacy. But overall, like a string of bad decisions, starting with the knee to the close fight with Aljo, which clearly he was the better fighter, but Aljo got some back control and can win some rounds. And again, he just didn't he takes round 1 off too often, which can fuck him over. Sean O'Malley, a lot of people thought he won. I thought he won. Also, the height difference.
Even the live odds thought he won. I thought it was pretty clearly, but even the live odds, I think it was like minus 1,000 at the end of that fight. So
right,
that was crazy.
And Sonya Dawn, great fighter, fought very good competition as well. This might just be a whole nother level of resistance, though, that he hasn't faced in the striking department. Gutierrez, good with his kicks and all, but in terms of the hands, it's hard for anyone to replicate Petr Yan. So,
yeah, Song Yadong's still only 26 years old, which is insane.
And also, this feels like a title fight to me. Like it's these guys are so fucking good. This should be a title fight, in past time, or right. In a different parallel universe that Petr Yan didn't throw the knee. So,
yeah.
Anyway, Petr Yan by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Gilbert Burns. Did I say Burns? Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. Give me JDM, man. He, in my opinion, is kind of the next generation of mixed martial artist. And we're just talking about Petr Yan, who everyone kind of sees as one of the best boxers in the UFC. Well, Maddalena might be competing for that number 1 spot, at least in my opinion. And I honestly think he's going to work his way right through Gilbert Burns. And I think some of the problem for Gilbert is Gilbert's very much more hook-heavy, wild, doesn't have the natural timing, it seems like, in striking. Like, if you look at the Hamzat fight, he's getting beat by a jab, beat by a jab, beat by a jab. Then Hamzat throws wild punches, and that's when Gilbert can get back into the fight. Mm-hmm. Jack Della's timing, man, his comfortableness in the pocket and ability to find the chin, I think Gilbert falls, and I think he falls pretty hard here. So give me JDM by a knockout.
Yeah, Burns obviously lost to, what's his name in his last one?
Bilal.
Yeah, oh yeah, that guy. He was obviously hurt as well, but Bilal did stun him early in that fight with a jab, and Jack Della's got insane power, throwing those straight punches, works the body as well, throws combinations. He's hitting you with 2, 3, 4 punches at a time. Love that. Looks great on the judges' scorecards as well. Obviously people will look at that Hafez fight or whatever and be like, oh, he's getting taken down, but he was pulling guillotines in that, which was stupid, and I think he's learning from that. Hopefully he doesn't do that again. I feel like he can defend the takedowns here against Burns and beat him up on the feet, and I like him to finish Burns here. I
like him a lot in this fight. I think it's a great matchup for him. Hafez, he only got one real takedown in that, and that was a deep double leg. Also, it looked like Hafez was just massive in that fight. But other than that, all the guillotines, it looked like Jack had the defense to sprawl, but then he just fed his hips in to try to guillotine every time and failed. So he's not going to repeat that here. I think it's just a whole nother level. 10-year age gap. Again, it's a fucking trend. You see with the Volkanovski, it's just a bad direction for Gilbert Burns, and there's a possibility he could work some takedowns, but even so, JDM, I saw some great scrambling in that Hafez fight to get back up to his feet, and I don't know how that Kevin Holland fight was a split decision. I thought JDM won all 3 rounds pretty clearly.
Yeah, clearly,
yeah. I remember the live odds were minus 170 after round 2, and I'm like, he's seems obviously up 2 rounds, but I think Kevin Holland had so many small strikes, like Kaitlyn Chookagian type, that they just, maybe the judges thought were landing that really weren't doing anything. But anyway, body shots, timing, comfortableness in the pocket, knockout power, snap on the end of his punches, everything is aiming in his direction, at least in my opinion. So, any more thoughts here?
It feels like, it doesn't look like it, but it feels like it. He's got a really good power, too, which I don't think gets talked enough about. He's really hurting these guys when he's landing. So
yeah, Gilbert's been dropped by, twice by jabs from Kamaru Usman, twice from, jabs from Khamzat Chimaev. Wait till fucking Jack gets him. Goddamn. So.
Yeah.
All right. JDM KO round 2. All right, we have Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. And I think Kevin Holland's going to win this fight. He's going to represent the UFC here, and I think he's going to do it in good fashion. Mixed results through his whole career, but I do like the matchup in his favor here. Venom Page now about 37 years old. Facing just entirely questionable opponents and winning in weird methods, of course. That leg kick, breaking the patella tendon of that dude he was facing, or kneecap, or whatever the fuck happened. Weird incident. Getting out wrestled by Logan Storley. Weird fight with Douglas Lima. Kevin Holland's the most active UFC fighter. He has to be in the last 3 or 4 years. And Holland, I think he can just do more damage. Venom Page's style of his karate stance, it's effective against really bad opponents. I don't think it's going to be as effective here. I know Wonder Boy did well against Holland, but I think Wonder Boy's much better at that style. So I'm going to take Holland by a late knockout, round 3. What?
Yeah, just Wonder Boy's striking is just on another level, I think. But yeah, back here, I think Holland will represent the UFC in good fashion here as well. So he is really powerful as well. He's finishing most of his opponents when he is winning. I'm looking at it now, and it looks like pretty much all of them. He's got sneaky power, I think, and just questionable competition for Page. 37 years old now, too. They are about the same height and length, too, which will be interesting to see how that plays out.
The UFC always gets these guys so late. Ben Askren, when he was 37, they get Michael Chandler when he's 34. They get MVP when he's 30. The timing is horrible, but
yeah. Feel like he's at the tail end of his career and only got a few left in him. So
also a guy reliant on speed in his style. He's on that light karate stance, but he's almost horizontal to his opponent. He has a nice fast lead leg, left leg, to pop up on people, and a good flying knee, but is he going to jump to 6'3" to knee Kevin Holland in the head? I don't think so. I don't think Kevin Holland stands pretty tall. I'd have to give a grappling advantage to Kevin Holland as well. I don't think he's going to use it, of course. The man dance.
Maybe club and sub. That could be a thing.
Yeah, well, Kevin Holland's chin is also just fucking crazy good. The head kicks he was eating from Wonderboy. Page does a great job of making people like reactionary to his style. When he darts in, people just have to react, and it's whoever can react first. And Page's hands low can kind of cut down that distance. But Holland's a tall fucking dude, big reach. Hopefully, he'll represent, at least in my eyes.
Yeah.
All right.
Fight, though.
Holland, KO, round 3. Okay, for the next fight, honestly the one I'm most hyped for, Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis. All the Poirier haters were coming out saying he pulled out of the fight and then he's back. I'm so happy this one's going on. Obviously, probably what I had just said, you guys probably know I'm picking DP, Dustin Poirier. How can this man be a plus 150? And, you know, the resume, everything going into this fight makes me like Poirier, other than him being obviously knocked out in his last fight. But something that I thought about was Justin Gaethje. If he was put in this fight with Benoit Saint-Denis right now, he would be like a minus 250. And I feel like that fight against Justin Gaethje for Poirier was whoever caught who first. And in that case, Gaethje fucking caught Poirier, but it could have simply gone the other way if they play that match, 20 times. It would probably go 10 this way, 10 that way. So, Benoit, great fighter, great pressure, uses his size and pressure in the grappling, but Dustin Poirier has been training with Mateusz Gamrot, who might be the best, honestly, offensive wrestler in the division and great cardio. So he's got to have some tricks up his sleeve for that grappling. And then, of course, Benoit Saint-Denis' left kick to the body and to the head. He's facing another southpaw here, so that weapon's kind of negated. And he's going to be more using that leg kick. And Poirier's been a little bit more hip to leg kicks in the last couple of years. Give me fucking Poirier and give me him by a second round knockout. Second round. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it is a 5-round fight here as well. Something to keep in mind. Benoit Saint-Denis has only been to a decision once, and that was his loss against Zaleski. So all of his wins are by KO, and they tend to be, or not KO, but by finish, and they tend to be early on. So yeah, I think cardio is definitely on Poirier's side. Yeah, I mean, I just think Benoit is just so dangerous. He leaves himself open all the time, though, too, which I don't like at all. Yeah, it can go either way. I don't like Poirier was just KO'd. How long ago? However long ago that was against Gaethje.
6 months.
Yeah, but tough fight to call, man. I don't know who I'm picking. Benoit is just so tough. He's getting hit a ton. So open, but he's so powerful. Can grapple as well. Poirier, I mean, he's got decent power, but it's more of a accumulation of damage, I would say. But yeah, I mean, crisp boxing for Poirier as well. I love this fight a ton. I assume the crowd will be rooting for Poirier as well here. Yeah.
So are you going for Benoit? Be clear.
To be clear, I don't know who I'm picking. I'm picking winner by finish, whoever wins here. Yeah, I don't know. If it's early, I think Benoit. If it goes a little later, then I think it's Poirier.
I see the boxing so much more on the Poirier side, obviously. The grappling would be on the Benoit side, but again, training partners, experience on the Poirier side. Poirier does give up his back, trying to get the feet. Michael Chandler got on his back. Obviously, Habib, Charles Oliveira, and Benoit's pretty good at that as well, but the boxing just feels so one-sided on the feet. The kicks, I think Poirier could work his own leg kicks. No one's really been kicking Benoit's legs. Benoit's not been in these long duration wars. He's been in the short wars, and he's been doing excellent at them. But come round 4, like if it makes it there, Benoit's me the one doing the grappling, and he could be really heavy and tired, and Poirier just pours it on people when he sees they're tired. So I'm all over this underdog spot, and it's fucking hard because, coming off a knockout loss, 35 years old. I love Benoit Saint-Denis. But this is a tough matchup for honestly both guys, and I like the underdog. Both got that dog in them, so.
Yeah, they do. I think if Benoit wins, it's either in 1 or 2, and then 3, 4, or 5 or decision. I would lean Poirier.
Okay, it's not a bad idea. Yeah, 5-round fight. A huge jump in competition. Matt Frivola, who I still have a high opinion of as a fighter. He has some weird fights. He can get finished, but still a good fighter, at least in my eyes. 2, Dustin Poirier is pretty crazy. So, give me Poirier, and just give me a fucking great fight. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Poirier, KO, round 2. All right, guys, and for the main event, we have Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera. Of course, guys, like the video, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. We've already got bets posted for UFC 299. And, of course, coming into this fight, great matchup, rematch. And I'm going to do what probably not many people or cappers will do. I'm going Chito Vera. I like stylistically where he lines up in this fight. He's durable as all hell. He hasn't been finished before. And Sean O'Malley's never reached a 4th round before. And Chito gains in fights. He gains as the fight goes on. He gets a little more cocky when he realizes this person can't get me out of there. And we've seen Sean has finishing ability, but I just think Chito looks so fucking durable. Keeps his hands up well. Eats the punches. Doesn't wear any damage on his face. In my opinion, that first fight was not a fucking fluke. And I don't understand the mindset of the fans on that. Maybe just because Sean has a cult following somewhat. But I marked the point at 2:54 in the first round. When that kick hits that leg, you can see the leg shut off. And sure, it shut off, and it's probably, a strange occurrence, but it did happen through a kick with damage. And Sean could have stayed in that fight, but he went to the ground. He ate the ground and pound. He could have survived on the ground. He didn't. So, give me Chito, man. Give me him by decision. I think that he could gain as this fight goes on, and Sean could fade. So, give me Chito.
Yeah, going back to their first fight, I think people will look at O'Malley was having a little more success in that first round.
It was only a 2-minute fight up until that kick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, duh.
Yeah.
Chito Vera always loses the first round.
Yeah.
I don't think I would expect anything different. He's downloading data in that first round and then has better success as the fight goes on. And I probably see that happening here as well. I think he'll lose the first round, pick up data, and continue to improve as the fight goes on. And O'Malley was slowing down in that Petr Yan fight. That's the only fight that's been to a decision of late that he's had. All of them are really first or second round, or maybe third round against one of these, Chris Matinho. But he's not having that hard of competition, I would say, besides his last two fights. So, I like Chito Vera. He's super tough, super durable. He's not going to get finished, I don't think. He's never been finished before. So, I think the grappling aspect played a big part against Corey Sandhagen for Chito Vera. That's not going to happen here against O'Malley. So, I really like Chito Vera's kicks as well.
Yeah, Sandhagen just kept him guessing with the takedowns. That's not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna occur here. Something I'd really think that Chito should do would be like an inside shin-to-shin leg kick like Jan Blachowicz did. Because this dude is just made of fucking steel, it seems like, Marlon Vera. And Sean, historically, has, hurt his ankles in fights before. I can't remember that one way back in the day. First or second fight in the UFC, he twisted his ankle and fought on one foot. Obviously, he's been doing a really good job of checking the outside leg kicks. He did that very well versus like Pedro Munoz. But overall, durability, gaining as the fight goes on. I think Sean does start very slow in this fight because he made the mistake, I think, of in a couple of his fights going ballistic in round 1 and then like having less energy as the fight went on. I think he will start really slow. We'll see a long feeling out process. That would be the scare for just Sean taking this fight for rounds. But I think the bets on this fight, if you're looking at this fight, would be Sean O'Malley by decision. And I'm curious what that line will be because odds makers like to put Sean in a finishing position. And then I would like Chito Vera live bet after round 1 or 2. I think that's the spots to hit in this fight. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, what's Chito? He's like plus 200 right now when we're recording this, and he probably loses the first round, and that'll probably jump to, 250, 300-ish. So, yeah, I mean, I like that. He's always losing that first round, so makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I like this fight. I know a lot of people think controversy that Chito didn't deserve it, but I like it, man. It's a stand-up battle. Like, I'd rather have this than, even though Moroz deserves it, Moroz would, just lay on these guys probably. So, I like the stand-up battle. Hopefully we see a little bit of a war. I think Sean might be hesitant to engage too much because he might worry about some of the things we've described in this video. And I know we're going to receive a lot of comments from the Sean O'Malley Sugar fan base because they really like him. And in terms of personality, dude, Chito is so much cooler. Go listen to Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast with Chito on it. Joe Rogan with Chito on it. Anything Chito's involved in, he's hilarious. And yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. He's from Ecuador too, so he's got that dog in him.
Got that dog in him. All right. Chito Vera by decision. All right, guys. That was UFC Vegas 87, Rozenstruik versus Gaziv. At least in my opinion, a pretty comical main event. I always think it's funny when we can call when a fight's going to be pretty bad, and that one was pretty bad. Putting a dude with no cardio in his second UFC fight into a main event and just shit in the bed is pretty hilarious. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, after that first round, he was already gassed, and you can tell Rozenstruik was taking over. I liked Gaziev having his mouthpiece like completely out of place so he could breathe for 3 rounds.
Yeah, it had no suction to like his top teeth.
Yeah.
It's like obstructing his breathing too, but I didn't think Jairzinho looked good at all either. I mean, like, plant your fucking feet and throw a punch that has, devastating consequences. He was just going fucking, I don't know, spastic
Yeah,
mode.
it looked like he was just playing with his food, just waiting for him to completely gas. He was just pumping up the jab out there, and
yeah, Shamil
Gaziev's face was pretty bloodied up. So
right, Shamil had like 4 strikes thrown in the course of the last 3 rounds. So and took the coward's way out. He said he couldn't see. He's got no swelling on his eyes, and like there's no apparent eye damage. That's pretty funny. It was probably just lack of oxygen to the brain. He's probably about to pass out. Anyway, let's get into the bets. A unit back positive. Everything that hit tonight hit with ease. We got Selwadi to start it off. That just started in the wrong direction. It felt like he was starting to take over the fight, but Radzhabov was just so much bigger than him. And when that knockout blow landed, it was just over. So that was sad.
Yeah, I felt like Radzhabov had about a minute in that 3rd round where he could find a KO, but if not, I felt like Swati would take over because Radzhabov was looking pretty gassed, and Radzhabov caught him.
So Wadi's problem is he crouches into a lower stance. He's like 5'9", but he crouches into the 5'6" position, and then he's like available to get hit by knees, and he just puts himself in a more vulnerable position. But anyway.
All of his losses are by KO.
Oh, well. Shit. Anyway, still think he's decent, just yeah, maybe not the best fight IQ, at least in that fight. Petrino, that fight wasn't very good. Round 1 and 2 was pretty bad. Obviously, round 3 pulled away. I actually wasn't even convinced that the score. I thought the scorecards had been pretty fucky going into the end there because there just wasn't enough output from either person. But he got it done. So
yeah, I mean, I thought he won all 3, but I had a bet on him, and I mean, it just didn't seem like either one of them did enough to really sway the judges in the first 2.
Right.
I just thought Petrino's jab was landing a little more.
Yeah, I don't think Tyson Pedro had like 3 head strikes in that fight, but good thing he retired. Not really worthy of too many more fights, I don't think. Klein by KO, easy pick. I mean, the odds for it were just an absolute steal. Just AJ Cunningham, short notice. The body work, the combination, no head defense for AJ Cunningham, horrible combo. You can see his cardio just wasn't fully there, and obviously the worst fighter. And Klein with no knockouts, but again, he hurts people in fights. So that one paid out.
I think that's what people just look at. Oh, Klein hasn't finished anyone since 2020. So yeah, I mean, he's hurting these guys in his last few fights. So Cunningham coming in on short notice, I felt like he could get it done by KO here.
Yep. Makayev by sub. I'm still going to stand by the pick there because just statistically, it makes a lot of sense. Perez losing by submission many times and Makayev winning by submission many times. It felt like it was in the right end of the fight, but I was not convinced Makayev won that fight. A suplex is all he had to his name in round 3. And I know Perez just defended things, but effective grappling, like fucking A, Makayev sat on his ass and held a single like 4 minutes of the round. I don't know. It's the hard thing is, even for Perez to do damage, if Perez tries to punch him from that position, it gives Makayev a chance to reverse the position. But then if Perez just gets up, Makayev will just do the same thing and hold on to a leg. So it's kind of a fucked position. It's an Aljo move is what I'm trying to get at. So
yeah, it was. I felt like if knees to grounded opponents like that would have been a prime position for that for Perez. But I mean, ultimately, Perez just didn't do enough damage to really sway the judges. And yeah, I thought they were really close. I wasn't convinced Makayev won either. So
the excuses after the fight, shut the fuck up, dude. Jesus, I was sick earlier today. Like, dude, who cares?
I wasn't listening to the commentary. I turned it on for a second and just heard him calling out for the title shot, which
he said he was sick earlier in that day. It's like, oh, but you're not sick now? It doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. Anyway, unimpressive performance, at least in my opinion. Debatable whether he won the fight.
Yeah, I mean, he really hasn't been like super impressive. I mean, he was losing to Tim Elliott as well and pulled it out. And Fieldho, he was caught in a leg lock or whatever.
Right.
Pulled that one out. And then Malcolm Gordon, I mean, he didn't really do much until the third round. So
right. Moving on, Christian Leroy Duncan, easy money, just ran right through Ribeiro. I couldn't believe the size difference in this fight. It was astonishing. And some of the tactics used, just like little brothering Claudio Ribeiro by grabbing both of his wrists and then just elbowing him, like tie elbows, was just nasty and easy work. And then Steve Erceg, again, this is just how we were talking about with Klein. Like, Erceg has 1 KO on his record, and that's against Dvorak. And then he comes into this fight with Schnell, a guy with no chin, and the KO prediction was pretty easy. And Christ, man, Schnell needs to retire. I mean, at flyweight to have that chin, that's just bad.
Yeah. Tapology's listed Leroy Duncan 1 inch taller than Ribeiro.
More like 4 or 5.
Like yeah, it looked like that. But yeah, I mean, I really love his striking, and he showed grappling as well. So, happy for him, and like to see what he does moving forward. And same with Urseg, he looked pretty darn good as well, and clocked Schnell. So, yep.
Yeah, and I thought it was. I know you didn't listen to the commentary, but Urseg, they kept on saying Din Thomas got on the mic, and he said, Urseg or Matt Schnell needs to get in the pocket in order to fight. And he took one step into the pocket, went into a trade with a left hook, and got fucking slapped just bad. So it was funny just at the exact moment they said that. We went 8-3 on picks. Only ones we got wrong were Salwadi, Basharat, which I actually thought that was the correct decision. Although Zahabi's a cocksucker and has a dumb style of counterpunching, he did more damage. And then Sapai versus Oliveira, that KO was insane. So, yikes.
Yeah, KO of the year contender. Yeah, that was insane.
Oh, and we forgot to mention what should have been the main event, Eric Anders and Jamie Pickett. That was a banger.
Yeah, it was back and forth. Pickett knocked him down. Won the first round. Is really entertaining fight.
You know, all the people that bet on Anders were like, what the fuck is going on in round one?
Yeah,
that was
probably
funny.
shitting their pants.
That was funny. Anyway, good positive bounce back card. Again, sign up Patreon, boys. Beat that line movement, like I said. I think we beat over 1.5 units of line movement prior to what bets won and lost. I mean, I could double check, I don't know, later, but I'm sure it's like about 0.75 units of line movement beat here. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I know this is a long-ass video. Anything else from you?
I think like 14 fights as of now on 299, so there's some good betting spots.
Yes. All right. Peace.
Peace.
I know. It doesn't matter, I'm from the trenches. I'm built like this. The old doubted me said I couldn't do it. The old said I couldn't do it. Look at me now.